How's it going? Tony here, and today an interesting video on my channel doing a collaboration with Hey Dad Let's Play and Gaming Off the Grid. Love both channels. You guys need to go check them out. And today we are going to talk about why we collect video games. So let's get right into it. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, Gaming Off the Grid here. Thank you so much, Retro Tony, for asking us to be a part of this episode, and you have some questions for us. So here we go. Why do we collect video games?
Well, I think there's multiple reasons. A big reason for me is I'm a huge fan of physical media. I always have been, so I love collecting video games, movies, vinyl. I just love displaying things and having something I can put in my hands and touch it and feel it. And also the nostalgia thing. It's so cool to go through the shelves and be like, oh dude, I remember the last time I watched that movie or played that game. I was like, oh man, played with my neighbors I haven't seen in 20 years. It's just so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And another big part of it is just, it's kind of the obvious answer, but fun. Since we started this channel and throughout my life, my best gaming memories are with other people.
Yes.
And so collecting games that we think other people would like to come over to the game room / studio and play and hang out with us and those type of things is kind of the reason. And I think the nostalgia factor and the other things you mentioned all contribute to that as well.
So when did you start collecting?
Yeah, I always hesitate to call myself a collector to begin with because I don't go for complete sets or much complete in box stuff. I do like getting consoles in the box. That's really cool. But I really just collect games that I feel like we would want to play.
Yeah, that are fun.
Yeah, so a lot of co-op stuff. I kind of have that thing in the back of my mind that if we invite a friend over to our game room, that we'll have the top 10 to 20 games on any console they would ask us about for them to play. But beyond that, we're not really completionists. So when I started, I think I've kind of collected my whole life. I did a fairly good job as a young Rugrat of not throwing things out and hanging on to the good stuff. Made plenty of mistakes. But then obviously the channel has helped us stir us up a little bit as collectors, I think. So maybe like the last 3 or 4 years have been a little more aggressive and tenacious about it, but I think I've been collecting for a while.
Yeah, I totally agree with, I feel like I've been collecting my entire life, but I wouldn't call myself a collector either. I've just always been a fan of physical media, so I've always had stacks of games that when I can remember, like back when the PS2 was huge, and the N64, I always had games, and then when you get a new system, it's just another line of games.
Yep.
And so I've always been collecting, but when I was younger, I didn't have the mentality where I was like, I'm gonna keep these.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I'm gonna keep these to play and then maybe sell them to get new games. There was like a cycle, and yeah, I kind of regret doing that now because I wish I would have kept everything. But yeah, the last couple years is when I've gotten really aggressive. Having this channel really helps.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I'm way more into it. So yeah, my entire life, I guess.
All right, the last question you have for us is, what system do we enjoy collecting for the most? And that changes, I feel like.
Yeah, that's a kind of a weighted question. I would say currently, right now, the Nintendo Wii is probably our favorite to collect for at the current moment.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
There's so many amazing games for the Nintendo Wii. Most people think it's like a family-friendly console, and it is, and there's a lot of fluff and garbage. But anywhere we go, garage sale, thrift store, game store, they always have Wii games. They're always super cheap, and there's a lot of sweet hidden gems for the Nintendo Wii that are fantastic. And not to mention, the Wii is a light gun machine.
It is,
and that's why we love it.
Yeah, so we've been having a lot of fun playing the Wii, and it is a very hackable machine as well, so that's kind of nice. The backwards compatible Wii with the GameCube, though, offers so much value because we play all our old stuff on CRT TVs, so being able to run the Wii through component, getting that better picture for the GameCube is really nice. And like you said, you can find that stuff anywhere. Really, right now, the Wii, PS3, and Xbox 360.
Just that whole generation of consoles is
kind of a fire sale right now.
It's really awesome to collect for, and there's so many sweet games.
You know what's really cool though right now is, I can't really explain it, but like the indie / retro-ish type games that are coming out on the PS4 and the Switch.
Yes.
We've really kind of gotten into this thing right now with the PlayAsia games, limited run games, and strictly limited, that's kind of really lit a fire under us from a collecting standpoint, where we're willing to spend a little bit more for that stuff. All right, Retro Tony, we really appreciate you having us a part of this episode. It was a lot of fun. And for anybody watching, if you want to come hang out sometime over here at Gaming Off the Grid, we would love to have you.
Hey everybody, I just want to say that I am so excited to be a part of this collab, and I want to say a huge thank you to Retro Tony for putting it together for us. If you guys are coming from my channel, make sure you go check out Retro Tony, make sure you go check out Gaming Off the Grid. Two super awesome channels. Go show them some love, give them some subscribes, guys. And if you are new to me, coming from them, I just want to say welcome. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to the Hey Dad Couch. There's a lot of cool stuff on my channel. I do a lot of things with my kids, and let's get right into it. Today, we're going to answer, why do I collect video games? If you can see behind me, I've got kind of a problem. So, I've been playing video games my entire life. It's all kind of a story that fits together as to why I collect. And I'm going to start with my very first gaming memories. So this right here is the box. This is what I collected. Not what I collected, but this is the shoebox that housed our collection as a kid for a very long time. So I'm just going to show you kind of what's in it. For years and years, this is all the video games we had. We did a lot of renting and stuff like that. Didn't have the Super Nintendo after it'd been out for a while. So I had an NES that I loved, and I had this shoebox of my mom's to house everything. So mostly what was in this shoebox was a bunch of cassette tapes. There's a Ninja Turtles one. Had a bunch of different cassette tapes in there. We had, I talked to my mom before I did the video. I remember it being the orange zapper. She swears it was the gray one. So we have an orange zapper. And then we had these 3 games. The 3 games that I've probably played more than anything else ever in my life. Right here. We had Mario Brothers Duck Hunt, Dr. Mario, and this one right here that I still say is an okay game, fight me, Friday the 13th for the NES. It has a few issues, I understand, but this was one of my 3 games, and so I loved it. I played it to death. Mario has always been my homeboy. I absolutely love Mario, and I've been playing this game once a year. Almost my whole life, I will sit down once a year and play through Super Mario Brothers. And that is why I love the NES, because I grew up with it for so long. I still have the 3 games that I started with and the original box that they started in. And that's why I love that, and that's why I love collecting for that. As I got older, I was very much into new games, and I would trade and borrow and all that, so I don't have all the games that I grew up with, and I'm trying to get them back. But there's more to that. So before I get too far, I want to show you guys, this is also my original NES from when we were kids, right here. We had a few alterations. When I was in high school, this is still the best solder job I've ever done. I put a new power button on it. Oh, it had a little charge in it, because this power button quit working. And everything else is original, except it now has a blinking light win in there too. But to me, this is still my old buddy. So like I was saying, as I got older, I would trade games off, I'd keep up with the new systems, things like that. Had kids and things, and one day, Oscar was playing a new game. He's playing NES Remix on the Wii U, and this is why I collect today. Because my son was playing one of the little Zelda snippets from this game. Right here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but he was playing one of the little Zelda things from the NES Remix, and it was one of the things where you have to go burn the bush. It's light the lantern, burn the bush. And he's sitting there and he goes, "Dad, what is this game?" And I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, that's Zelda." And he goes, "I love Zelda." And right then and there, I knew that I had to start collecting games, that I had to go back and show him all these old NES games. And so that's what I did. I went and I dug this thing up, hooked it in, and we started playing games. And that's been all she wrote ever since. Every time I see an NES game, I have to pick it up, and that's what I collect primarily. And it's so much fun, and I do it because I loved it as a kid, and now my kids love it too. And I wanted to pass that along to them. So thanks for listening to me, guys. Thanks for sharing in the journey with us. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and go hit those other guys up too. And thank you so much for coming and listening to me today.
So why do I collect video games? Well, there's multiple reasons why I collect. First of all, it is a very fun hobby for me, and I love going out with Stevie, Bubby, Lucas, and other friends. I also really like connecting with this retro video game community. I've made a lot of friends in this hobby and just connected with a lot of people, especially with my channel and social media, and it's just a lot of fun. I love the hunt. I love video game hunting. I love going to thrift stores, pawn shops, garage sales, outdoor flea markets, you name it. I love it. I love meeting people on Facebook and saying, hey, what do you got? Let me see what you got and let's make a deal. I love haggling. That's one of my very favorite things to do with retro video games, and just finding a really, really, really good deal. I also collect for nostalgia's sake. I absolutely love retro video games. I grew up with the greats. The Atari 2600 was my very, very first system. The NES, the Super NES, the Sega Genesis, my very first system that was mine. My very own. I didn't have to share with my brother. The N64, the PlayStation, PlayStation 2, Sega Dreamcast. I did not choose the Xbox, by the way, but I own one and I have a pretty sizable collection. PlayStation 3, absolutely love it. PlayStation 4 is quite possibly my favorite system of all time, maybe tied with the Super Nintendo. But I absolutely love playing these games. Now, I may not be the best, you guys might watch some of my live streams, but I don't care. I just have so much fun playing them, and they're just a blast to play. I love all the classics. You can name them all, the Marios, the Sonics, the Tetris, the Final Fantasies, the Zeldas, Phantasy Star, Shining Force, you name it. Pretty much any classic series, Metroid, what else, Mega Man, Castlevania, Contra, any series pretty much I love and I like, and they're just so much fun. And I also collect because really it's kind of a memory of my brother, and I have not really shared a whole lot about my brother on this channel, and I absolutely love my brother, miss my brother, and we had a deep, deep love for video games. A very rich love for video games. We did not get along growing up, but there was always one thing that we had in common, and it was video games. And I dearly miss my brother, and when I go out and I find these games, especially when I'm with his boys, it just means the world to me. And I can't express how much it means to me when I'm with his boys looking for video games, playing games, and it's just very special. And I miss you, Aaron. I love you, Aaron. And not to get too real with you guys, but yeah, it just means so much more to me than when you guys really think and imagine and know. And yeah. And I just love being with my friends. I really love being with Stevie and Bubby. And when I go to Missouri Game Con, not to get sentimental and emotional and all that, and I just love this community, guys. There is so much negativity out there that you can see and find. And to me, I latch on to the positive stuff. To me, I latch on to this community, and I try to give back. I try to make someone like Lucas feel special, and just connect with people on a real level, on a level that, you know, something we all have in common: a love for video games. And I love video games. I didn't plan on getting this way, guys. I apologize. And the second question that I asked Gaming Off the Grid and Hey Dad Let's Play, when did you start collecting? Literally, I have been collecting all my life. And ever since I was a kid, young child, I should say, we had an Atari 2600 and a 5200, oddly enough. And I kept that stuff. I kept the majority of my NES games and Super NES games, GameCube games, all that stuff, N64 games. And I still have the majority of that stuff in my collection. And I don't plan on getting rid of any of that stuff that I had from my childhood. I even had some stuff from my local rental store. And yeah, I held on to the majority of it. I did sell a big chunk of it when I was in college, and it was a mistake. But since then, I have recollected stuff. For example, Chrono Trigger. I got rid of that when I was in college, sold it. Harvest Moon, a bunch of JRPGs. Earthbound was in there too. Too many to list off in this video. But I have recently reacquired all those. And what is my very favorite system to collect for? That is really hard. I know I'm going over my limit, guys, but I had to get some stuff off my chest about my brother a little bit. But my favorite system, absolute favorite system to collect for, even though the cartridges aren't that super cool and it's not super exciting, like say the NES that has so many different variations and so many weird unlicensed games, I'm gonna have to go with the Super Nintendo. I absolutely love the Super Nintendo. The Super NES is just, to me, that's childhood. Yeah, of course the NES is childhood. The Atari 2600 is childhood to me. But when I went into my rental store, or to Walmart, or to Toys R Us, or wherever they were selling video games, I had to have Super Nintendo. Well, thank you so much, Gaming Off the Grid. Thank you so much, Hey Dad, Let's Play. And guys, I can't wait to see you both, all of you, at Missouri GameCon 4. Really excited about that. Why do you collect video games? What is your main drive for collecting video games? Is it a nostalgia? Is it to reconnect with your youth? Is it just for fun? Is it just a fun hobby to you? And when did you start collecting? And what's your favorite system to collect for? Answer all those questions down in the comments below. I really want to know. And guys, I really appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate every single view. I appreciate every single thumbs up, every share, every comment. Guys, I can't say it enough. I really appreciate you. And this community means more to me than you think and know. Alright guys, well, really appreciate it. Again, Gaming Off the Grid and Hey Dad, Let's Play. And thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.